I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with a 3-minute cattle market update for Friday, August the 19th, where this cash fat cattle market's losing ground, and it's real disappointing because it looked like we were coming into this week with a head of steam and would at least get steady, if not gain a few more dollars in this little rally we had going here for the last couple weeks. But you look at live cattle futures on the October contract for Wednesday was down a buck. Thursday down $1.82, so that's a pretty good loss there middle of the week. To end the week with October, or end Thursday, at 110.57. Your August spot market's at 113.57, which is a pretty big basis again, getting this close to maturing the market there, or the contract. Look at feeder cattle for September. Wednesday was down 65 cents, Thursday down $1.77. To end the day on Thursday was September at 143.15. CME cash feeder cattle index is at 148.32. Your real-time index on Cattle Market Central, and go to cattlemarketcentral.com if you want to check that out and watch it come together. But late Thursday, it's at 145.02, more than $3 less than that, all because those Thursday sales were quite a bit lower than what was happening earlier in the week. And you won't find that out looking at your CME index or any of your government market reports until the following day. But you look at the fat cattle market and started selling Wednesday up in the Iowa, southern Minnesota region at 117, which was disappointing. Dress sales from 186 to 187. There was getting a few sales over in Nebraska at 118 on Wednesday, but then that pretty much set the market, and by Thursday morning everywhere was selling at 118 live, which was $1 lower for the week. And like I said, real disappointing and discouraging, because it looked like we'd come into this week with a big head of steam, but pretty much lost that right off the bat there on Monday, whenever your grains were up fairly sharply right after that bearish crop report. And like I said on the last time we talked, it seems like a lot of these traders and some of these analysts don't believe that government market report on that supply and demand deal on the grains, but you kind of got to go along with that. You can't forget that every single year with these hybrids and different things that they do for the farming industry, you can always make more yield per acre. More bushels to the acre every year. They make it where we get more and more all the time. The thing that they forget to do is make it where we can run more cattle to the acre or less acres to the cow. And we just never see that. But we've got enough cattle going right now too, and we're trying to come off of a big run on those. But you look at your currentness of your feedlots, and we keep saying we're getting on top of these cattle and we're current, and they're selling them, and they have been selling them, and the packers have been slaughtering them right along. But for some reason, these actual steer weights on a dress basis keep going up a little bit. So evidently we're not as current as we would like to be. And the actual weight information to come out this week's for the week ending August the 6th, and your actual dress steer weights are up another 3 pounds at 886 pounds. Look at your slaughter so far for the week through Thursday, 452,000, which is 3,000 more than the same than last week, and 21,000 more than the same week a year ago. Look at some cash feeder cattle markets middle of the week. El Reno, Oklahoma had 8,000 head. Feeder steers $1 to $3 lower. Calves, the government market report just called them 2 to 3 higher. If you look at your market report on Cattle Market Central, you can sure see that 1 to 3 lower on your feeders, but the calves look like they could be more than that higher, although there's not that good a test on them, so you can't put a whole lot of stock in that. But looking for a good change here for this time of year, middle of August there in the southwest, they're starting to get cooler and wetter. And that's a positive sign, especially as people get ready to start planting wheat here before long. But you look, like we talked earlier, these Thursday sales are quite a bit lower. Look at Pratt, Kansas. They're on another good run in Pratt. They had feeder steers $4 to $5 lower. And you can sure tell that on those big heavy feeders there. I want to remind you, look at Monday afternoon, your Virginia tele-auction is going to have 37 loads of cattle on DV Auction. Check those out. It's going to be 6 Eastern, so that's 5 Central time. And if you haven't watched one of those sales, I'll tell you what, you can tell by the way they do it that them guys are sure straight up. You can get on the phone, talk to Butch Foster there on this number that I'm quoting right there, and really find out some details on those cattle. But they're absolutely straight up. You will love those cattle. They're for the most part black-hided. They will absolutely tell you how many's not, what kind of frame muscle score those cattle have. They'll be long time weaned, all preconditioned, ready to go to work for you, especially you guys in the Eastern Corn Belt. If you're not taking advantage of those Virginia feeder cattle, you're missing the boat. That's 3 minutes. We'll talk to you next week.